Friends, 10 life lessons we learned from Chandler Bing. Before we start, I would like you to hit that red subscribe button so you never miss out on any of our videos. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Film Sci. Here are 10 life lessons that we learned from Chandler Bing. Number 10, don't take pranks too far. In the one with the memorial service, Chandler and Ross began pranking each other by posting outrageous things on their college alumni website. The pranks escalate until Chandler writes that Ross has been killed by a blimp. Faking Ross's death was much too far, and showed that there was a limit to fun and games. Ross went along with it, which made things worse, but Chandler should have refrained from writing such a thing to begin with. There's a point where pranks are no longer funny, given they usually escalate. Chandler and Ross would probably recommend avoiding them entirely. Number 9. Filter your conversations. Chandler sometimes lets things slip a little too easily. In other words, he should have known better than to say things in certain places. For example, there was a time when Chandler confessed to Phoebe in Central Park that he had hated the bracelet Joey had given him in the one with the prom video. Chandler did this out in public, and didn't even try to lower his voice or censor what he was saying. Considering how much time Joey spends in the coffee shop, it was likely Joey would show up and overhear. Filtering conversations could save a lot of heartache, especially if Chandler had utilized his own filter in this instance. Number 8. Embrace your awkwardness. Chandler is awkward. It's actually one of the most charming characteristics. He never tries to hide it. In fact, he practically announces it to everyone he meets. He's even confessed to Janice that he's hopeless and awkward and desperate for love. Chandler doesn't try to hide this part of himself, especially among his friends, and it's actually one of the most treasured things about him that both his friends and audiences love. Number 7. Don't be afraid to do what is best for you. Sometimes being honest and diving in despite fears and reservations is what life requires. Chandler was afraid to break up with Janice, but he eventually found a way to do it, more than once too. He also had a serious talk with the mom and about past pains after finding out that she and Ross had shared a kiss. Additionally, he put his foot down when Monica wanted to spend all of his savings on their wedding. Chandler had to learn to do what's best for him and stand up for himself, and even which time he did so, he reinforced that important life lesson. Number 6. Lying doesn't end well. In season 4, Chandler and Rachel happen to run into Janice, who immediately decides she and Chandler are meant to be together. Unfortunately for her, Chandler doesn't feel the same way, and he makes up a huge lie about having to move to Yemen for work very soon. Since Janice refuses to leave his side, he's forced to pack and get on the plane and actually go to Yemen. Simply put, lies don't work out, and Chandler's lies are proof of that, and they are majorly backfired on him. Number 5. You are not your parents. Chandler frequently talks about how unhappy his childhood was. In fact, his parents telling him that they would be getting a divorce ruined Thanksgiving for them, and their unstable relationship caused him to be insecure and afraid to commit to his own relationships. However, Chandler found his own way, and he experienced a real relationship with Monica, who in turn was willing to help Chandler overcome his own obstacles. Ultimately, Chandler had nothing to fear, as he was nothing like his parents and ended up leading a very different and happy life with Monica and their adopted twins in the suburbs. Number 4. Pay attention to your surroundings. Chandler doesn't always take notice when he's in certain circumstances, and he has to learn the hard way as a result. For instance, when Chandler and Ross were preparing to fight their bullies outside of Central Park, they failed to notice that their wallets and other valuables were being stolen. This ended up running after them, with Chandler earning a bruise to the head following a fall. Additionally, Chandler and Joey experienced a good scare when they managed to grab all of Ben's baby things, but left the infant Ben behind on the city bus. These two instances alone provide the important life lessons of paying attention to surroundings and spares audiences of having to learn the hard way as Chandler did. Number 3. Communication is important. Chandler's relationship with Monica was meaningful and significant, but it wasn't perfect. He had to learn to be vulnerable with her, tell her what he really felt, even if it terrified him to tell her she gave him bad massages, and be honest with her she wanted his opinion. Communication is important in any relationship, of course. For instance, had Chandler checked in with Joey about liking Kathy before kissing her, the two could have avoided a lot of heartache in the process. Chandler wasn't always the best communicator, but he worked on it and was determined to get better at it because it was so important. Number 2. There are people to relate to. Chandler is awkward and sarcastic for a reason, given his upbringing, and he uses humor as a defense mechanism. However, it doesn't prevent him from finding his group in New York City and developing close and lasting bonds with them, especially Joey, his best friend, and Monica, who later becomes his wife. Chandler found people who understood him and vice versa, and it meant the world to him considering he didn't have much of a family life. His friends supported him through a lot, and watching Chandler be vulnerable with them by admitting he was afraid of breaking up with Janice or being honest about his past is an important lesson in how to interact with those who mean the most. Number 1. Support your friends. Chandler went above and beyond in supporting his friends, especially when it came to Joey. Chandler made sure Joey had a place to live and food to eat, and he provided any other necessities Joey needed too. While this may not be realistic, it's still an important lesson to support friends in any way that someone can. Helping them through problems, celebrating the good times, and being honest with them are all important. And Chandler's relationships with each of his friends, especially Joey, emphasize the importance of being there for loved ones. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also watch the next two videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next